welcome to the Type 1 Lifting Podcast. Now enjoy the show. All right, guys, I want to tell you a little bit about Type 1 Lifting. So Type 1 Lifting is a clothing brand that proceeds of the shirts, the hats, and everything else go to the Children's Diabetes Foundation. This whole t-shirt company started from me taking care of a 5-year-old girl from the emergency department at the Children's Hospital I worked at in Atlanta for a while back. I thought I needed to do a little bit more than kind of just talk about my story. So this is how I started the clothing line, because I wanted to show people that even though diabetics have this really bad disease, we can still do amazing things in our life, and diabetes won't stop us reaching our goals. So go check out type1lifting.com. And, if you have any questions, you can always reach me out on Instagram. It's Type 1 Lifting, and hope you guys enjoy the show. Hey guys, we have a new sponsor for the Type 1 Lifting podcast. The company's called Vndk8 Lifestyle. So Liberté is a French word meaning freedom, and the company was founded on the desire to have freedom to choose what we want to do with our lives. I actually had the owner, Nicole, on my podcast on episode 28, so if you want to go back and listen to her, she talks about how she started the company and what she wants to do in the future with the company, which is pretty cool. So they actually have knee sleeves, wrist wraps, shirts, shorts. Love the knee sleeves. I have the ice cream knee sleeves, and I love them so much. The neoprene's still good. The seams haven't split compared to other knee sleeves that I have had in the past, and I'm planning to keep these for a very, very long time. So Nicole actually gave me a promo code for you guys too. So it's all capital letters, TYPE, and the number 1. So it's Type 1. So go to libertelifestyle.com, check out what they have in the store, use the promo code Type 1, and save some coin. Now let's go to the episode. All right, guys, welcome to a new episode of the Type 1 Lifting Podcast. This guest, I would love to be in his shoes because he is a t-shirt printing guy for Vndk8. His name is Travis Bellinghausen. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I got that last name right?
You did. First
awesome.
try.
Yeah. I literally would listen to another podcast like 3 times just to make sure I got it right.
Usually people will stop after the ing. They're like, Bellinghau, what? Like just exactly how it's spelled. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
They usually throw an R on the end of it.
Yeah, I think that's like a Northeastern thing. I don't know. Like we put R's or S's on after everything. So
yeah. Nope, you did good.
Awesome. So I didn't tell you this in the beginning, but we actually have a little bit of commonality. Like we have some stuff in common. So you're a graphic designer.
Yep.
I graduated college with a graphic design degree.
Okay.
So you have a t-shirt company. I have a t-shirt company. Obviously mine's not as big as yours, but I want to get into the t-shirt business like in the beginning, but and you also do CrossFit too. So that's 3 things in common. So
oh, that's cool. Yeah, it's one of those deals like I kick myself like every day that back in college I didn't think to ever take a business class or an accounting class, because it was one of those I don't plan on starting a business, and sure enough here I am years later like, oh, this class is really what paid off big time, because I'm just learning as I go.
Yep. Yeah. So what made you get into that field? Like were you very like artistic like back when you were like younger?
Yeah, always drawing and stuff back in school. So I mean, my God, I started all like freehand drawing, and I'm a terrible freehand drawer. I can't illustrate or draw worth a damn.
Yep.
So I think it was my junior, maybe senior year of high school when like Photoshop came out. So that's how old I am. And it was Photoshop when there wasn't even layers. You literally had to be very careful about what you did. So I never touched a computer as far as design goes until I was a senior in high school. So that was in 94. I'm 47. So yeah, it's just evolved big time as far as what I've done throughout the years. Went to school, had no interest in pretty much anything other than design. I played football until I got injured in college. I got injured my freshman year. I herniated discs in my back, so that kind of ended my my football career pretty
Hmm.
quickly. I actually did that working out in high school. I herniated 2 discs in my back and ended up having to get cortisone injections just to get me through high school. And those got me by for quite a while. And then went in, I was playing linebacker in college, went in for a hit, my leg went numb, and that ended my college football career.
Yeah,
So
mine ended my sophomore year of college because I played college football too, and
okay,
I literally got
see
two.
another thing in common. Look at
I know,
this.
it's crazy. But my concussions were my thing. So I literally
Oh God,
I got I got two concussions in the matter of a week and a half. So I played, I got a concussion, and then I took a week off, and then I started back up at the next week because they cleared me. And I literally went because I was a defensive end, and so I literally went in
okay,
between the tight end and the tackle, and they both like crushed me with my head.
yeah,
And so
yeah.
then I literally got another one, and I'm like,
Oh
okay,
my God,
I'm done, I'm done. And
it's
then
crazy because I grew up skateboarding, biking, rollerblading, BMX, football. Never once had a concussion. I didn't get a concussion till I was in my late 30s. And
wow.
I mean, I was a lineman in high school. I played tackle and center, so I mean, it's head-on collisions every single play.
Hmm.
Never got a concussion, not
That's
once.
crazy. Yeah.
Never smacked my head skateboarding. I had a half pipe in my backyard. Never crashed. Never wore a helmet of all things. Rode four wheelers, mopeds, all that. Never hit my head once.
Yeah, I think the total
I
of
lucked
concussion.
out.
Yeah, you definitely did luck out. I think the total of concussions that I've had are six.
Oh
So,
God.
no, five or six. So I know I had three. I had four in one year, and then I know I had
Wow.
one in high school, and then I was playing old man lacrosse, and I was doing because I've been playing lacrosse for like 23 years, and
Okay.
so like I was doing a face off, and the guy pushed my head to my shoulder and literally cracked my neck, and
Oh
that's
God.
instantly like I was. It was like they I went to the hospital I was working at up in Boston, and they thought my brain the artery to my going to my brain was dissected.
Oh Jesus.
And so they're like, you might need to go to surgery like right now. And so then like the head of like the whole CT department like looked at it and said, no, he's fine. He just got his bell rung. And so I was just like, that was like the one I was like, holy shit. Like I'm probably gonna get a huge line down the back of my neck just to get this thing
Right?
fixed.
Something's got to change. You probably can't see. I have a scar right there. I have a fused C3 and C2 from a very stupid accident. Yeah, dumb accident. Herniated disc, cracked a vertebrae, and lost my right arm for almost 5 days. Like literally couldn't use it. It was I was in the hospital and they would lift it up and they would say hold it there and it would just drop. So that was the only time I ever got a concussion was from that stupid accident.
Dude, that's crazy. That
Now,
is so
now I should
crazy.
say diagnosed concussion. As a
Yeah.
lineman, I probably had a few, but never to the point where I was like throwing up or dizzy or anything like that.
Yeah, I never
But
threw up. I just kept on forgetting stuff. That was me.
yeah, okay. See, that's me now. So I'm sure I've had a few
Yeah.
concussions. I
No,
have the worst memory in the world.
I think that's dad brain. That's like
Yeah, well, that too.
I'm completely certain it's called dad brain because I forget everything now.
Yeah.
And I know
Mine,
you're a
I just
oh,
leave mine as an excuse. I have too much shit going on, so I can't remember everything.
true.
That's all it is.
Yeah. So I know you're a dad. You're a dad of three.
Dude, I got three girls. Yeah, one's I got a 20, a 17, and a 14. So yeah, there's a whole lot of dad brain that goes on,
Yeah.
especially when it's all girls.
Yeah, of course.
Stays
Oh,
a little
jeez.
busy.
Yeah. I like talking to people on my podcast that are dads. So I want to get what your experience is when your the first daughter came out. Like what was going through your head of that whole experience? Do you remember that?
It's weird. I think it was it Chase that was on yours, and he's like, everybody tells you you're going to expect this. Oh my God, life changing moment. Everything's so good. And I was like, all right, that's my kid. Cool. There really wasn't anything. I think it was more of a oh God, what have I gotten myself into
Yep.
type
Yep.
of thing. It wasn't like this, and I feel bad when I say it. It's like it wasn't like this instant forever love and you are my everything thing. It was like, oh God, this is real.
Yep, shit got real. Yeah.
That was more of it. And I mean, it was a long labor. Jesus, I don't even remember because we were induced. So it was, and she didn't come fast. So it was like 12 hours or even
Oof.
more of just walking the hallways and doing everything we could. And it literally got to the point, lost my light. Literally got to the point with the doctor, and the doctor was like, well, you're either going to have to push this baby out or we're going to have to go in and do the C-section. And yeah, my ex was a trooper, and she's like, nope, we're getting this done. And she had the biggest stretched head because they literally had to take the forceps and pull her out.
Yeah, which is like super
So
dangerous too. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, she had a super long head for forever, cone head. Um, so yeah, it was quite the experience for the first time.
Yeah.
It's quite traumatizing as a dad. You're like, oh my god, I didn't know those things could look that way.
Yeah, yeah. So my first experience with like a birth before. So I was working in the Air Force and like I was a medical technician for the Air Force, and so I was down in Biloxi, Mississippi, doing an internship at their labor and delivery floor for like 2 days or something like that. And
Okay.
so one lady was like, okay, we're gonna induce this girl and give her a C-section, and so
Oh
like.
geez.
I'm like 6'6", 220, like a bigger dude, and like all the girls that are working there in the military were like 5'6", like a buck 40, 20, whatever. Like they were like
Right.
really small. And so one of them looks at me and says, if you pass out, like we're not gonna catch you. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh,
You're on your own.
that's fine. And so I saw my first C-section where like they like obviously they put the needle up the spinal cord to like numb pretty much like the anything from the nipple down. And so
Right.
they're like, can you feel this, feel this, feel this? And I'm like, they're like, no, no, no. And then finally they cut open the belly and then they just ripped it open. And I'm
Oh
and I'm sitting there like this.
Jesus.
And I hear the lady go, oh, and I'm like, holy shit. Holy, oh my God. Oh my God, this is insane. And then all of a sudden the baby comes out and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I just saw my first birth. This is
Oh my
insane.
God. Yeah.
So
I don't think I'd want to see somebody else's first. I'd be like, no, nope, I'm out.
well, I really had no choice. Well, actually, no, I did have a
But
choice,
yeah,
but I still
yeah.
went in for it. But yeah, like, but my wife had both had C-sections because the first one,
Okay.
the spinal cord, not the spinal cord, the umbilical cord was wrapped around my son's neck, not like tight,
Okay.
but it was just like hindering him to, flip over head down.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
they're like, yeah, you can't do anything about it. So you gotta get
Yeah.
one. And then she was thinking about like doing a regular pregnancy with the second one, and they're like everyone said like don't do it, just don't do it.
Yeah, I think like most of them, once you have a C-section, they pretty much say you're going to do a C-section for all of them,
Hmm.
which that may not be true or not. I don't know, but that's one of the things you hear. Luckily, all of mine were just regular births.
Yeah,
My 17-year-old, so my 20 and my 17 are actually born on the same day.
cool.
Was not planned by any means. Like I said, the first one was induced, so I don't know who screwed it up, if it was her or the second one that screwed it all up. But yeah, we were having our third birthday party for the first one, and everybody jokes, tomorrow you're going to go into labor because
Yeah.
the birthday was actually the next day, which would have been a Sunday. And sure as shit, here she comes. She's like, "Hey, I'm going to party too."
Awesome.
So yeah, second one born on the exact same day.
Yeah. So
That was crazy.
like did you like use any advice from like other dads from like raising your kids that you actually tell other dads too, or is it kind of like
Not
we went with it?
I pretty much went with it, bought all the books and all that stuff. And I was actually the first one in so I have an older brother, and then a younger cousin who's basically like a sister. She lived with us throughout high school and then on.
Mhm.
And I was actually the first one to have kids. So there was nobody like in the family to give me advice. No, it was pretty much the books, read up what you can, and that's about it. And you're on your own. And none of my friends, only one of my other, I think only one of my other friends had kids right around that same time, and they had triplets. So trying to learn
Oh,
anything from them was impossible. Yeah, first time out of the gate have triplets.
And they were
So
probably done after that, weren't they?
they thought they had been told originally that they couldn't. I'm trying to remember how it went. They couldn't have kids, they had tried and just nothing would happen. So they got I can't think of what the medication is, whatever they do to help you have kids, and they have three of them. After that, they were told you'll never have kids again, and I think it was 6 years later, here they are, have another baby, and just one. So it wasn't one of those like episodes where you have, once you have twins or triplets, you're gonna have more, have multiples. Nope, they only had one more, but it was a surprise. It was like, hold on, everybody told us we weren't gonna be able to have kids anymore.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
sure as shit, they had another one.
It's crazy that happens because like I actually had a neighbor of mine that actually was told that they would never have kids, and they have one. So, and it's crazy. Just like everyone thinks like the doctors know, like, okay, this is definitely not going to happen. Then like some miracle up there just happen. Like happens. Yeah.
It can happen.
Yeah.
But no, but I got my three and I'm done. My dad is the youngest of 17. So I wasn't about to repeat that pattern. It's like, no. You're on your own on that one.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, is it pretty? You live in Iowa too, correct?
I live in Nebraska now.
Nebraska. I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay.
In Nebraska now,
yeah. So, I've never been to Nebraska. So, do they typically have like large families in that area, or not really?
Not anymore.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think it's just kind of an old school. There's my middle daughter actually has a friend who they might be on their 8th or 9th. And other than that, you don't see too many this day and age that have them because, God dang, you can't afford it.
No,
there's no way. There's no way.
No way.
No, no, it's pretty much the 2, 3, 4, and then everybody's pretty much done.
Yeah, I'm done after 2. There was like I'm not doing anymore.
Oh, it was amazing, like going from 1 to like 1. It was like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing. 2 was a piece of cake, and then 3 was like complete chaos. It was like, oh,
you're outnumbered.
Yeah, exactly. I only have 2 hands. I can't do anything here. And thankfully they were spaced out enough, on average about 3 years apart, 3 years and then 2.5 years. So, they were old enough to kind of be moving around and do their own thing for the most part, where it wasn't like a bunch of like the people that have back-to-back babies, like, you guys are insane. Yeah. There's no way.
No, thanks.
No way.
Yeah, I'm good.
No.
But so now I kind of wanted to talk about. So when you started your t-shirt company, Vndk8, you started with a friend of yours, and you was mainly towards like a skateboarding side of like t-shirts and stuff like that. What was obviously you said you were like a big skateboarder, but was that like always when you and your buddy started it, was it always leaning towards the skateboarding side of it, or what was the whole
I mean that's just what we were into. He was more into BMX biking, and I was doing skateboarding, and it just the name and the direction of everything worked for both. So that was just the direction we went in because we were both interested in it. We had a local kid who was doing really good skating, so we kind of helped sponsor him, got some boards made, get him shirts and stuff like that, and it fizzled out back then, and I'm not sure about now. Skateboarding was hard to break into as far as skaters are very finicky about new brands and who they are. So it just kind of fizzled out. And Steve was like, dude, if you want to do something with this, go for it. Give it, because I was starting to go more towards mixed martial arts just for my general interest, not participating by any means, but it was just something that I was getting more into as I was getting older and doing less skating and biking.
Yes. So you said you were getting into the martial arts side, and you actually were trying to sponsor a couple people. And I know you said in a previous podcast that like Reebok kind of took over the sponsoring, so you only were allowed to like certain things on your banner and like the clothing and all that stuff. Yeah,
it was literally like early on, it was like the Wild West as far as sponsorships. Basically, if a fighter could get a sponsor to pay for a spot on their shorts or their shirts or the banners that they hung over the cage. They were like, cool, you can do it. We don't care. As soon as the Reebok deal went into place with the UFC, they basically cut out anything extra because they were trying to, professionalize the sport for the most part. A lot of people look at it as the UFC wanted all the money for the
Hmm.
most part because they weren't making money on the sponsorships. I never had to pay anything to be on the banners other than what I was paying the fighter. Um, so the UFC wasn't getting a cut of that money. So I mean, there was ups and downs as far as professionalizing it, which I understand. And now, I mean, you look at the UFC now, and it's like a freaking NASCAR of sponsors that the UFC is getting all the money for, and the spiders aren't.
Yep.
So it kind of sucks. But yeah, it literally, like, as it started to take off was right when that Reebok deal happened. So it was another one that's like, oh crap, now what am I going to do?
Hmm.
So I had started so doing design, doing web design, doing photography and video and stuff. One of my coworkers, her one of her friends had a CrossFit gym, and they needed some website stuff done and some photos and video. And I had never been to a CrossFit gym, even though it was funny because probably maybe a year, 2 years prior, my brother actually opened his CrossFit gym back home.
Oh, cool.
And I was like, what the hell is this? This is goofy. But these guys doing these stupid pull-ups and really fast squats
Hmm.
for. This makes no sense because I grew up, the old football bodybuilding style. Um, so yeah, I had started doing this work for this CrossFit gym here in town, and I had gone and filmed. I think it was in November. They did. It was a called the Turkey Throwdown. So they
Hmm.
did a November competition, and I had filmed a bunch of stuff during that competition. I was like, holy crap, this is crazy. So they had always told me, like, hey, you're doing all this work for us. You can come here anytime. Join, free membership, basically, for doing all the website and design and film work. I was like, finally in December, I was like, all right, I'll give it a try and see how it goes. And sure enough, did it and was hooked ever since.
Very cool. Very cool. So, were you still with your partner at that time, or like you already split with for the?
No,
Okay.
yeah, he had pretty much. We never had anything formal. I mean, we didn't even have an LLC at the point where we had started. He was just like, "You want to take it? Go with it. Cool. Have fun. Good luck." And never looked back. Yeah, he's never come back at me or anything. I mean, my goal at some point is to bring him back on because he's an amazing designer. He did the logo. We just had different styles as far as what direction we wanted to go.
Hmm.
So yeah, eventually I'll get him back in at some point.
Very cool.
Gotta get to that point where I can start hiring people.
Yeah. So, with Type 1 lifting, how it started, like, I had like 12 shirts made, and they were like heat pressed. So was that like the
Yep,
first edition for you guys?
one shirt at a time.
Yep.
And I mean, there's still stuff that I'll do that's heat pressed. It's literally like most of my designs, I try to keep them simple. One, because I can, if I have to, I can make them with a heat press. And two, it from a cost perspective, the more colors you put into it, the more it costs to get it produced.
Hmm.
So I try and keep everything as low as possible. So yeah, I'll still do some heat press stuff, and that's how a lot of my stuff starts. It's like, all right, we'll start on heat press. Are coming in to where it's stupid to be heat pressing stuff. I'll go get stuff screen printed because I don't do screen printing myself. I have a local screen printer here in town who just cranks stuff out when I need it. I've He'll get done in 2 days if I need it done.
Yeah.
I had the like Sevon shirts for the game last year. This that he wanted to do to give out to people. They wanted to do 1,000 of those for the game, and he literally was like, "Hey, can you get these done?" I'm like, "Dude, the games is in like 4 days. Are you serious?" Sure enough, the printer had blanks ordered in his shop next day in about a 4 day turnaround.
Wow.
So
That's
my
crazy.
printer does a good job. Yeah,
Yeah.
he does a really good job.
So,
It depends on schedule.
yeah,
Some stuff takes, but
Yeah. So with my shirts, like the heat press, I don't know if the guy like heated it too little. Like it actually started breaking at like certain areas of the lines and stuff like that. It was that typical for you when you first started out? Like how like what was the learning curve of like doing all this screen printing and like heat pressing?
Literally with the heat press, it was literally like trial and error. I'd found some of the bigger name brands as far as the vinyl goes, they were freaking terrible. I'm like, yeah, you're a big name. This product sucks. It doesn't either one, it's too thick. So you can literally like feel it on there. Cause my goal, like if it's anything heat press, I want it to not even notice that it's there,
Hmm.
just like screen printing. So it was literally trial and error. Start ordering different brands and figuring out what works. Um, and I've found a couple different brands that work really well. So that it's been good. I haven't had really anything that cracks or peels. If it's something that peels, it's pretty random, and I try to do my best from the service side. And if somebody has an issue, they email me, and I'll get them as soon as possible because it's the product fault.
Yeah. Yeah. So what was the biggest like what was the like the oh shit moment like when you got like a crazy order for you?
Oh, the oh shit moment was Hiller. By far. I mean, I couldn't I can't even express like how things change. Sevon and
Hmm.
I hit a gold with those two. He didn't know the right people at the right time because I had talking to Sevon, watching the show quite a bit, and some issues that they were having with their. I literally like, hey, I do apparel. If you ever let me know. He like more than he was just like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Everybody says they do apparel. So I just literally kept nudging him. And finally he was like, all right, let's give it a try and see what happens. And it worked out really well. And then Hiller started to kind of make, and it was when Hiller and Sevon were kind of, it was before they had their like whole relationship.
Yeah.
And it was like Hiller versus Sevon at one point, and I literally messaged Sevon. I was like, "Who the fuck is this guy? Think he is? He's a dumbass. He can't put it together. That's chop everything up. He can't." It was like 2 weeks later, Hiller was on the show. I know exactly what they're doing. They've been talking. They know what they're doing.
Hmm.
So yeah, it was when he made his shirt, his original one of the online printing deals, and he did his own shirt in one of his videos. He said, "I need to make a new shirt. If you guys have any ideas, let me know." I just messaged him. I was like, "Hey, I make shirts. If you ever want to do something, let me know." And I had redesigned the shirt that he did already because he said, "I just want to make another version of this" in his video. So I did a new version of it, sent it to him, and he loved it. And I said, if there's anything you want to do, just hit me up. I'm open to new ideas. I don't have all the ideas you want to do. Let me know, and I'll see what I can do. He told me, he's like, I want to do a no rep shirt that looks like the Noble logo. Like, shit, that's easy enough. I literally sent it to him an hour later, and his only words were "go." I was like,
Nice.
"Go? What do you mean go?" He's like, "Do it." Like, oh, okay. I said, "Do you like want to work anything out here?" He's like, "Nope, just do it." Like, all right. So it opened the floodgates, and it
That's
was
awesome.
it was well. So I mean, as far as pivotal moment, that shirt was the pivotal moment
Yeah.
by
So
far.
so when you actually were talking to Savon about the CEO shirt, even with Hiller too, because if I like earlier on, I tried to get him on my podcast and I realized he had his cell phone number on Instagram. And so what I did
Who
was
did
Hiller.
Sevon or
No,
oh
Hiller.
really?
Yeah. And so what I did was I actually was texting him. I'm like, hey man, like, my name's Tom. I have podcast, come on in, and like, I'd love to have you on the show, and like no answer. And then I think a couple
Yeah.
days later, he kind of realized his cell phone number was on Instagram, and so he took it off.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. He's so funny because like he's so in your face on video, but in person he's not that way at all. He's like
Mhm.
very quiet and self-preserved. His phone is on constant, and it's because so many people have reached out for him. Like you can't get a hold of him. Like I'll call him and it immediately goes to voicemail. So I just leave him a message. Same thing. Like if I can get a text from him, it's usually at 4 a.m. or in the middle of the night because he doesn't get back to anybody. There was one of the episodes of Saban's show where they were talking about getting a hold of each other, and he's like, well, let's just go through my recents or my most frequent and see who I get a hold of. And I was on the list. I was like, yes, sweet. I made the list.
Yeah, because you're the shirt guy.
It was literally like Dad, Alexis, Saban, Travis, Sevan, Alexis. So yeah, I've made the list. So that was pretty cool.
Awesome. So
and I'd never met him. I mean, I literally didn't meet him until last year.
Wow, that's crazy.
Or no, when was it? Yeah, in when was that? November, I think. I was going to Masters Fitness Collective to do a booth, and I had to drive just south of Chicago. And I sent him a message and I said, hey, I'm coming for you. He's like, where are you? I said, I'm south of Chicago. I'm heading to Indiana. He's like, are you serious? Stop over. So got his address and drove up to Chicago real quick and said hello.
Nice. So he didn't even put you in one of his YouTube videos at all since you were already over there?
What do you mean?
So like you were at his house, or you met up with him. He didn't want to put you in a YouTube video with you?
No, we didn't make a video while we were there. We took some photos real quick because I was literally on my way to Fort Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like an 8 hour, what was it? Yeah, 6.5 hours, I think, by the time I got to Chicago. So it was stopped in for less than an hour and then
gotcha.
hit the road again. Yeah. Nope, I didn't get to go in the videos. I got to see the Bat Cave. So that was cool.
Nice. That's really cool. And
I see the space.
So have you met Savan in person yet?
No, nobody's met Savan.
He doesn't like going out. Why doesn't he like going out?
He doesn't need. He just likes to stay home.
Yeah, little homebody.
Stay at home. Yeah, and he's gotten to that point now where he'd be like Hiller. He can't go anywhere. If he goes to a CrossFit, he's just going to get swarmed by people. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's kind of how Hiller was at Wadapalooza. He was just constantly talking to people.
No, I can.
He would literally He would literally run to the booth and then duck behind because my booth it backed up to the athlete area, so he would run into the booth and then duck behind the backside so he could eat and hang out a little bit. Him and Les. So I was a little hideout for him. That's very cool. Nice. But yeah, I mean, I think Sevan would be the same way. Like he's a lot killer. He's like, I can talk when the camera's on, but when I'm with people, I don't want to talk to people.
Yeah.
But they do good. Hiller does a great job of interacting with people.
That's good. So you were talking about going to like the Master Fitness Collective and like doing a booth. Yeah. So like what's the logistics of you like setting up a booth at an event? Like how does that work? Do you kind of like do like a month in advance and say like, hey, I may want to consider, these amount of shirts, like this amount of sweatshirts or whatever, and then kind of, set up the booth that way. So how does it work?
Yeah, that's been a learning experience. I lucked out. I'm trying to remember exactly because I didn't doing any booths till last year, and that was one of those deals that Gabe from Paper Street talked me into. We had ended up, I think it was Masters Fitness Collective. He's like, "Hey, I'm going to be there. You should go." And I'm like, "Dude, I don't know. I've never done booth before." So there was, there's the booth fee, there's travel. There was literally that I had no booth. I had to buy the booth. I had to get a shitload of stuff screen printed and ready to go for it. And I actually lucked out because there were 2 local competitions probably like a month or so before that. that I ended up getting a hold of and got booths for those spaces. So there was literally like this nice little trial run right to it. So for those, I got the booth ordered. So I got that cost out of the way. Was able to figure out like tables and displays and how much stuff to bring. And like that first one, it was literally like one table, one rack, a 10-foot square booth set up outside. And I look back at the pictures and I'm like, how in the world did I even survive with this? Because I've told everybody now, it's like, if I can't get a 10 by 20 space, I can't come.
Mm-hmm.
Because that like Wadapalooza was just chaotic as far as it was great traffic, but the booth setup, I only had a 10 by 10 space and it was just chaos with like where everything was and how I had to set everything up because I have so much stuff and I had to cram it into this 10 by 10 space. Like I will never do that again.
Yeah.
This is driving me nuts because there's just shit everywhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was trial and error, figuring out what kind of racks to order, what size tables, what height tables, what kind of tables. Do I need table covers? Do I need displays that go behind the tables? All that kind of stuff. So I lucked out having those two competitions before Masters Fitness because that was up until then that was a big commitment. That was 11 hours driving to get down there. I had to borrow my dad's truck to get everything down there. And I literally had that truck packed from the entire bed, the inside of the cab. It was a crew cab, so the entire cab, the passenger side is like filled with boxes and containers and everything. So yeah, after that one we did, and again, it was Gabe talking me into, and I literally like would not do these. One of them is paid off. Like everyone's gotten bigger and better. So after that, when we did the Charlotte Classic, Taylor Self's competition, in Charlotte, North Carolina. So that was like the first experience of actually shipping. An ordeal when you don't have a warehouse with a loading dock. I learned is a giant pain in the because it costs you almost $1,000 more to ship everything.
Yeah,
when you don't have a loading dock. So again, it was a learning experience. It's the way it goes. So that was my first experience with like packing because you literally have to get everything on a pallet and ship it out there a week ahead of time. And then it gets there, you do the competition and then you don't get it back for another week. So it's very nerve wracking when you're trying to run an online business at the same time. So I literally I just put messages out on Instagram and on the website that, hey, just letting everybody know from this date to this date, orders are going to be delayed and it's going to take possibly 2 weeks before I can ever get anything shipped out. Because I either don't have it or I'm at home or I'm not home.
Yeah.
So I can't send it out because it's literally just me that does all the work. So
yeah. And your daughters once in a while let you work for you too, right? To get paid.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, they love helping out. They did. We just did a competition a couple of weeks ago, just over in Des Moines, Iowa. And those were long days, and they had a ball. We went in, set up a 10 by 20 space, and they worked the booth all weekend. I gave them a break here and there, but it was funny because they both after the first day. I mean, it was probably a 10-hour day. On the first day, standing around and stuff. And they said they both in the middle of the night woke up and their calves were cramping because they from standing around all day. Yep, that's the way it goes.
Yep.
I had flashbacks of Wadapalooza because those were 12 to 14-hour days of nonstop standing around. And oh my God, my legs, my body, everything hurt. You wouldn't think you would hurt that much working a booth. And I'm glad I didn't. I would look at like the volunteers and stuff doing the workouts afterwards. And like, hell no, there is no way.
No,
I'm exhausted.
Yeah, very cool. So I always kind of so when I started this shirt company, I kind of looked at a couple other shirt companies to kind of get ideas flowing and kind of like the way I kind of want to look, like how some of my clothes to look. So did you have some of those like clothing lines that you kind of didn't want to copy, but like kind of looked and said, I like their style. I like the way they do like their product, and kind of go from there.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of them that, and I still do. I look around. There's a lot of them that I'm like, okay, I like what they do. I like a lot of it, not so much design, but like materials.
Yeah. Hmm.
What are they doing now? Like this that I have on now is pretty new, and it's got like a thick. It's almost like a thick rubber material, but it makes it stand off the sweatshirt. So it works really good like for sweatshirts and joggers and that kind of stuff.
Yep.
It's not something I'd use on a t-shirt because it is thicker, but it gives a little bit more of that premium look and feel. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot more, just like I said, not so much design wise, because some of the stuff I'm like, that stuff is freaking terrible. Why are you doing it? But you go, you do you.
Yep.
Um, and I mean, there's a lot of them that I look up to, it's that, comparison is the thief of joy type of thing. It's like, okay, they've been doing this for a while. Stop thinking you can do that. And I've really tried to expand products away, not away from, but beyond just t-shirts, because anybody can do t-shirts.
Yep.
I'm no rocket scientist by any means. It isn't that freaking hard to make t-shirts. You just got to have the drive to do it and invest in a little bit of time and materials. It's the things like the women's stuff I've really started to expand, like the women's joggers, the leggings, the shorts, sports bra. So it's finding the sources for them for the most part, knowing who to get a hold of, what the turnaround times are going to be like, and seeing what else you can expand to that people are going to like.
Yeah.
And another big thing is like pricing, making sure you price it right. I look at some of this stuff, I'm like, my God, the amount of money that these people are charging for this stuff. I'm like, I, in good faith, can't do it.
Yeah.
And maybe that makes me a bad businessman. I don't know, but I can't do it.
Yeah.
So
It's crazy. Like I've seen some shirts go for like $40, and I'm like, you have like one little design on like right like the left like the left chest. It's like
yeah, yeah,
$40.
yep.
Like it's like
It's
insane.
crazy. And I know a lot of that stuff, depending on the brand. I know, I give Noble a lot of shit for what they do, and a lot of people like to pile on. But I know they source materials. I mean, I can't say much for their fit, but I know like their materials, like their camos and stuff like that. From what I know, they literally have that stuff made. So it costs more for
Hmm.
them to make it. It's not just an off the shelf t-shirt that they can go buy and then throw their logo on it. They have to invest money into it. So I've kind of learned along the way, like, okay, I'm going to back off a little bit on how much crap I'm going to give some of these companies.
Yep.
Some
Yeah.
of them, not all of them. I'll always give Noble crap.
Yeah. So do you ever like look into your like little room that have like you have like all your stash and everything like that, and you're like all this inventory, and you're like, I gotta sell this stuff. Like, do you ever get nervous when you see like large amounts of inventory?
I've learned, so I learned after early on with some stuff, like order small because you can always order more. It's a big error that a lot of people make, and yeah, you're gonna save money by ordering more, but you're most likely gonna sit on it for quite a while, and
Hmm.
it's figuring out sizing. There's no science to it. There's no science to color schemes or sizing. You're gonna order 100 larges and everybody's going to want smalls. You're going to turn around and order 100 smalls, and all of a sudden everybody wants extra large.
Yep.
So yeah, I made that mistake early on, and I've got some stuff that I'm sitting on that I'm like, I can't even give it away because it's just one of those things that isn't selling right now.
Hmm.
And it's usually like for the t-shirts, it's the small and the, not knowing how they would sell in the beginning, ordered double XLs because I thought, well, people love it. Everybody's going to order these. So I got to order a bunch of every size. And figured out basically with t-shirts, it's your large is going to be your biggest seller. For
Yep.
women's tanks, your small to medium is going to be your biggest seller. And then you order a few of each of the other ones. And then when it comes down to it, order more if you have to. Cause
Yeah.
I'm by no means in a spot to order thousands of everything and just to get that cost break. it's not worth it for me.
Hmm.
So I'll order 15 larges, 10 mediums, 10 XLs, 5 smalls, 5 extra larges, and I'll just order more if I have to.
Very cool.
That's the way it goes.
So did you have any designs that you thought were like, oh man, this is gonna sell. This is a killer design, and like it just come flat out like just did not go well.
There's been a few, yeah. And I mean, there's been a few for even Sevon and Hiller. I was like, this thing's gonna explode, and then like, guys, why do I still have inventory? What the hell's going on here?
Mhm.
It's again, it's there's no science. You have no idea what anybody's gonna like.
Yeah.
Basically, like if I do something for Hiller, I know it's gonna do pretty well. Um, but it's still just kind of dependent on the time of the year too. Like right now we just came out with the new no rep ones. And those have done well because the open's right here. And thankfully there's been like more events per se going on throughout the year where there's not as many ups and downs like there used to be, whereas like this
Yep.
complete dead space, there's like always something going on. And Andrew does a good job of making things go on when there's nothing going on.
Yeah, exactly,
And
exactly.
Sevon too. I mean, my God, with Sevon doing freaking shows every day,
He's
there's
unreal.
always stuff going on.
I mean, I would love to like I, you know, I listen to his podcast probably the most out of any CrossFit podcast because the main thing is
Yep.
like he always has something new. And like
Yep.
and he always sets time. It's like it's crazy because like he always pumps out stuff and it's like constantly going and going and going and it's like how does this guy able to like manage to like, have a team and then like fill in all this stuff? It's insane.
Yeah. Yeah. It's cool, like to see how it's grown, like because and he said it before on the show. It's like there is no like organized team and you have this role and you have this role.
Mhm.
It's literally if you have an idea and bring it to him and he sees value in it and you're gonna work it, then he's all for it. It's basically don't bring me a problem, bring me
Yeah.
solutions.
Yeah.
Like you can bring me a problem, but make sure you have a solution for it. And that was one of the things that just kind of rang a bell with the shirts. There was issues, and I was like, hey, I can do shirts for you, but there wasn't like a definitive solution. It's like, okay, I can do solutions or I can do shirts and here's how I'm going to do it.
Mhm.
Then he was like, all right, let's go. So it's literally like, don't, and that's the case with basically any job or any manager. Like, don't bring me problems
Yeah.
unless you have a solution
Yeah. They already
because
have
he's got
enough of
too
it.
much going on.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
exactly.
mean, he's got the show to run. He's got kids. He's got a wife. He's got stuff going on. It's like, I can't do it all. And Matt's the same way. I think I probably talked to Matt Souza more so than Saban in the early on. It was like, all right, you got to come to the table with something. Don't present us a problem and expect us to tell you how to fix it. You
Mhm.
go fix it.
Yeah, exactly. Now, with you doing the t-shirts and working a full-time job and being a dad, how do you balance all that stuff all at once? Because that's crazy. That's a lot of work for like all three things.
Oh, is
Yeah.
this?
Yeah.
I have no balance. I, I, I shouldn't say. I mean, there's discipline. I literally, and I've kind of lucked out because the girl that I work out with, her job, she has to be there fairly early. So I literally like started going to the gym early because of her job.
Hmm.
And so that has carried on over the years. So it's up at 4:15, 4:20 in the morning.
Same here.
Get into the gym by 5 to get workouts done because she's got to get to work. So we're about 30, about 6. So then I home, get changed, get kids to school, go to work
Hmm.
all day, and then I mean, it's kind of like that blessing with the age that my kids now with business because I'm able to do it,
Hmm.
and they're or they want to have food on the table. And other than if we got some activities to go to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I mean, it's get home, work on shirts till sometimes 10:30 at night, and then I'm in bed doing it all again the next day.
Hmm.
I've learned to take rest days on Sundays and Thursdays for the most part. Those are usually like the scheduled rest days, because you got to have a break every once in a while, and take advantage of sleeping for maybe 2 more hours.
Yeah, exactly.
But there is no 8 hours of sleep or anything like that, and it's I think that's where a lot of people basically screw it up. It's like these are the years that are just gonna flat out suck. They're gonna be freaking hard and they're gonna blow, and you're gonna have to get up early, you're gonna have to work late, you're gonna have to live it and breathe it. And
Hmm.
it's just the way it is. Or it's never gonna happen. I don't know if you listen to Andy Frisella, um, his podcast quite a bit. He has it's the Real AF, and he used to have the MFCEO project. He's the owner
Oh,
of
yeah,
First
yeah,
Form
yeah, yeah.
Supplements.
I've listened to his podcast before. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's very much like the vast majority of businesses don't make it because they give up. They don't want to do the work and they quit. It's like, well, I'm not going to do that. You just got to put in the work,
Hmm.
and it sucks. There are days that I'm dragging ass, and I drink a lot of Paper Street coffee and energy drinks to get me through the day. Sometimes it's just the way it goes, and I
I
don't
hear you.
regret it. I love doing. I mean, it's the thing. I love doing it because I literally get with my job. It's casual, so I can wear t-shirts, sweatshirts, or whatever. So I literally just wear my shit. I'm a walking billboard.
Hmm.
It's great for the business expense, run off pretty much everything I do. Um, you got to live it. It's just and I don't think it's ever gonna end. Unfortunately, no matter how big you get,
Hmm.
you still gotta breathe it. Maybe I'll
Yeah.
get to breathe once in a while.
Very
I
cool.
get
So
somebody else to fill some orders once in a while.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, that's one of my questions later on. But like, are you doing the Open this year?
I'm not. So I've had to change quite a bit of training, since I've been battling an injury for a couple of years. And then everything really flared up in November. I had what we finally figured out. I got an MRI, did a CAT scan. I have a pinched nerve herniated disc in my C7, or yeah, C7, basically from my 4 down to my 7. So I already have my C2 and C3 are fused from that accident from years ago. And then it's just wear and tear. I have hereditary spinal stenosis, which is narrowing of the spinal column.
Hmm.
So what that does, like your nerves and everything run through the spinal column. When you have stenosis, it's narrowed. So when you have a herniated disc, there's no room for those nerves. When that disc pushes on it, it basically pushes the nerve against the wall of your spinal column, and there's nowhere for it to go. Um, so I a few years ago I did a burpee competition, and I started getting, it just felt like something was pinched, like in my scap of my shoulder blade.
Hmm.
Done physical therapy and chiropractic and stuff. Um, and then this past November did a workout, and it just got worse and worse. And I started getting tingling and numbness in my right arm, and my arm falls asleep. And surprisingly, sitting here at this table, I don't usually sit. I'm pretty much always standing,
Yeah.
because sitting seemed to affect it when my arms are out in front of me is when it was bothering it the most. So like sitting at a dinner table, driving, some stuff like that. Um, so I like I said, I would start getting the pain back in the shoulder, and the arm would start to go numb way down, and I wouldn't lose function of it. It just pins and needles.
Hmm.
Um, and then I started to notice my tricep was getting smaller, and I was losing strength on my right side. I touched to where I noticed, it was like, all right, I'm gonna do just some dumbbell bench one, like super light, grab some 15s. I'm just gonna do a super. I got overhead and I started to lower it, and I almost myself in the forehead with the dumbbell because
Jeez.
I started to lower it and it completely dropped. So
Yeah.
to that point where that so that it's shut off. Um, so found out through MRI and meeting with the doctors, I'm going to be having surgery hopefully soon because I need to get it taken care of. We're just trying to figure out which surgery is going to be the best bet.
Hmm.
Um, there's a they're kind of talking about doing another fusion, which I do not want to do because they're talking going 4, 5, 6, and 7 fusing, and I'm like, well, that sounds a little extreme because once you fuse it, you can't go back. There's no turning back from that. So there's another procedure. I can't remember exactly, like called a laryngectomy, something like that, where they basically cut out a piece of the bone on your spine and it hinges open, and then they put the steel plate in there to
Hmm.
hold it. So it basically just gives your spinal column more room. It gives it like this little buffer area to push out of.
Yeah.
So kind of leaning towards that. That's the direction I would like to go because the fusion's just going to suck. I mean, I'm not going to be able to turn the head for the most part, and I'm too young for that. Too
Yeah.
young and too active.
Yeah.
So no, my training's changed quite a bit. I haven't done a snatch or a clean since November. Basically anything overhead, I have to be super careful with, like literally a 15-pound dumbbell overhead is on this side. Trying just stabilizing is really hard.
Hmm.
So a lot more bodybuilding style workouts lately, which gives the rest of my body time to recover. My butt's looking really good because
Hey,
I can squat.
that's all that matters. You know, you
Right? I'm
go to the
getting ready for
beach.
summer.
Yeah, go to the beach and like you drop something and like you're on the beach and just like get your little bathing suit, like
Yeah,
just whip out
exactly.
your butt. So
We just bend over and pick that up here. So no, nope, not doing the open. I haven't really done it. Excuse me. Trying to think if I did it last year. I think I did do. I don't know if I signed up for it last year, but I think I did some of the workouts.
Mhm.
I'm getting old. I'm 47 now, and my body. I didn't start CrossFit till I was 40,
Yeah.
and it was like, typical. You fall in love with it, so you do 2, 3 workouts a day for years, and then your body starts to go, hey, you can't do that anymore.
Yep.
We're going to start shutting off. So I've had to tone it down quite a bit.
And it's not a bad
But
thing. Not a bad thing.
no, it's amazing how you can actually stay fit doing one workout a day. You
Hmm.
don't have to drive yourself into the ground. It's fun. It's fun to do as long as there's no running.
Yep.
It's fun. I used
Awesome.
to be a runner. I don't want to do running anymore.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I used to do triathlons and I have like no desire to run anymore. I'm like, I'm good.
No,
No thanks.
no,
But
no, I'm good.
we're getting close to the end. So I have some rapid fire questions. I always say
Oh
they're
boy.
rapid fire, but they're not really rapid fire. So you can take as long as you want on these questions. Um,
Okay.
do you have any goals for yourself or Vndk8 or like pretty much anything for the end of the year?
I mean, my goal for this year specifically, is take it full time. I mean,
Mm,
that is by far the goal that I want to hit, and I'm hoping to do it sooner rather than later. The surgery kind of threw a whole wrench into everything because I was feeling like it was getting pretty close. But yeah, surgery is going to kind of mess all that up. Luckily, my job's flexible. They are totally cool
yeah.
with me needing the time that I need, or if I need to be out of town for a competition. I'm good at getting my work done, so it's not like I leave them hanging by any means. Um, but no, I mean that's probably a big goal for this year. Other than that, I would like to start getting some athletes on board. And it's not even so much like the big athletes, it's like these young up and comers that need help for the
Hmm.
most part. Because I know what it's like. I've needed help and I've had people help me out. So if I can get behind them, cool. I'm all for it.
Nice.
And whether it's an athlete, or I hate the word influencer, But just people who are trying to do something in the like Roderick from Meme
Hmm.
for Time. I mean, those guys are awesome. So if I can help them out, I'm all for it.
Okay. All right. Very cool. Next question. What is your favorite book?
Ooh, I don't read. I'm really bad. I don't have time to read. I think the last book I finished was probably Ready Player One, and that was a long time ago. It was good. I don't know. I don't read.
Okay.
I don't read.
Well, you're way too busy, so you don't do like books on tapes
I
or anything like that, or like.
I try to, but I can't because my mind's always going. I literally, if I'm listening to a book on tape, it's when I'm mowing the lawn.
Mhm.
Because even when I'm driving, I can't focus on them. But when for some reason when I'm mowing the lawn, I can. But I'm very much a busybody. I'm not good at just sitting around.
Yep.
So if I read, I usually fall asleep. So I don't get very far.
Yeah.
There's some books that people have ran and raved about, and I start reading them like, oh, why? I don't get it. I can't do it.
Oh,
I
okay.
like drawing stuff. I like making pretty pictures.
Okay. Okay. All right. What's your
That takes up my free
what's
time.
your favorite graphic design program?
Ooh, probably Illustrator, just because everything I do design wise, I need it. I know a lot of people say Photoshop, but if you're doing Photoshop for your shirt designs, you're doing it wrong. For the most part, you better start using Illustrator if you want to screen print something.
Mhm.
Run into that plenty of times where people send me a design. Can you print or can you get this printed? It's like, no, because you didn't use the right program to do it.
Mhm.
It can't be done unless you want me to redraw this whole thing.
Yeah, and it's gonna
There's
cost you
no,
extra.
it's not happening. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, probably Illustrator.
Okay. Okay. Cool. So next question. What is in your gym bag?
Oh God, not much anymore. Some protein, some hydrosalt, my knee sleeves for sure because I do a lot more squatting. Knee sleeves, belt. My grips are sitting on a shelf in my closet now because I can't do any pull-ups
Hmm.
because I can only pull with one side. I don't know. There's a lot of miscellaneous stuff in there. A lot of bands. Oh God, I can't think of the name of it. When I was doing more pull-ups, I can't think of the name of it. It's basically a metal tube that has sandpaper glued to it, so you can shave your calluses. You can literally
Oh,
grind
yeah.
your calluses down.
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing works pretty well. But no, I don't. I used to have like my lifting shoes and all that stuff, and I kind of trained myself away from wearing lifters. Like, okay, your mobility is not going to get better if you use lifters.
Hmm.
So I pretty much have my tier training shoes, which I love. I've kind of gone back and forth on different shoes. I was a nano guy forever until the X came out, which I liked the X, but they were just so dang heavy. And they haven't really fixed the weight. And then the few designs after that were garbage. So once I found the tier shoes, like, okay, I like these. I'm going to stick with these for a while.
Nice. Very
So
cool.
they've worked out really well.
Awesome.
Tier, if you ever want to send me shoes,
Yep.
go for it.
All right, next question. This is going to be a little deep. So, let's just say it's your last day on Earth, and you have all your friends around you. How do you want people to know you as?
Oh God, you dropped this one on game. Um, I don't
I do
know.
it to all my I do it to all my guests.
Yeah, I don't know. It for most people, I wanted to know that I cared, that I worked hard. Um, cared in the sense that I'm doing some stuff with a purpose and not just because it makes some money. I mean, the money's cool, but there's got to be a deeper purpose than that.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, the big thing for me, like I've worked at being 47, I've worked different jobs for different companies and big companies, small companies, and I've kind of hit this point where I want to do something that my kids can be proud of,
Hmm.
that they can look back on, like, dad actually did something with his life, and he did it not just for himself but for them. To hopefully leave them with something cool in the end. That, that's probably my biggest goal right now. It's like see where I can go with this thing,
Okay.
and have something for them to be proud of. Because I mean, that's a big thing that every parent wants. They want good kids, and they want their kids to be proud of what they did.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like the big thing with like trying to make this go full time is the fear. Because with the ages my kids are at, it's a scary freaking thought to be like, okay, you're gonna jump off this cliff and there's nothing there to catch you.
Mm-hmm.
You got to either learn how to fly or you're in trouble. Um, so I've juggled that quite a bit. I've got a lot of good people around me that say, "Hey, you'll figure it out." There's, and I listen to a lot of podcasts. A lot of videos of people who've started companies, and that's literally all they say. It's like there's never going to be a right time.
Yep. Yep.
You'll figure it out. There's going to be shitty times. There's going to be really good times, and you figure it out or you don't.
Yep.
And that especially with my field of work, like, all right, cool. If I don't figure it out, I can find a job.
Mm-hmm.
There's something out there that I can do. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But
My
yeah, I
motto,
mean that's the big thing.
yeah, my motto that I always go for is screw it, just do it. So that was from Richard Branson. He had a book out called "Screw It, Just Do It," and so that's how I did it. Because like when I started, the podcast, I was just like, "All right, I'll start it here or whatever. Let's start to do it here." Even the T-shirts, like, I'll wait another week to start it. It's like, no, just do it now.
You got to do it.
Yeah, just pull
Yeah.
the trigger. Just go for it.
Yeah. And that's like I said earlier with you either have a guest or you don't.
Mm-hmm.
You might get 5 listeners, you might get 100. It's consistency, and that's what both Savon and Hiller have literally been like. All right, we're going to do a show. We're going to do an episode every day. Period. There is
Mm-hmm.
no ifs, ands, or buts. It has to happen. I don't think Hiller's missed an episode yet.
Nope.
Savon's maybe missed 1 or 2 just because of traveling, but it's just you got to do it. And that's like with my shirts, it's been one shirt at a time. At early on, it was literally one shirt at a time.
Mm-hmm.
An order would come in, and I'd go make it and send it off, and just hope another one comes in. And in the meantime, I was making my own designs and making my own stuff, just learning as I went along. It's like, okay, these materials don't work, these do. And it's practice and discipline.
Awesome. Awesome. Very cool. So the last question is, where can people reach out to you if they have any questions about starting their own t-shirt company or pretty much like how the whole process works?
I'm like I said early in the show, I'm pretty open. Email info@Vndk8.com. All my social media channels, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook are all just at Vndk8, Vndk8. So I'm pretty easy to get a hold of. Sevon's podcast, whenever he is live, I'm usually in the chat. Probably saying more things than I should as a business owner, but I've learned to back off a little bit. Because I can sometimes say some things that I might not say or probably shouldn't say, but I do. So if you want some entertainment, you can learn from my mistakes sometimes.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, listen, thank you very much for coming on the show. I really do appreciate it. And like, it was awesome just kind of, learning about like your whole life and, how much stuff we have in common. And it was awesome.
Anytime. I have fun doing it. It's fun chatting it up.
All right. Well,
it's probably a million things we didn't cover. But
oh yeah, I did. Trust me.
For the next show.
Yeah, we're doing another show. So, but thank you again for doing this.